Hey, what's up YouTube? Today I'm going to have a look at the iPhone 12 Pro. So let's cue the unboxing.
Look, well ain't she just feeling the life when a rock star step in the building tonight? Everybody wanna call me the villain, I ain't, just as long as they willing to fight. Man, I ain't got nothing to prove, I'm chillin', I'm nice. That boy neck cold, just chillin' in ice. And I ain't gotta ask if you feelin' the real, cause we already know that they do it for likes. But I do it for life, do it for love. You are now tuned into a beautiful drug. Hardly a cruise ship, usually tough, and the weak man usually bluff. It's not easy.
So let's cover off the unboxing first. You'll notice this year actually the box is half the size. That's, if you don't know, because Apple are no longer including a charging block or headphones. Now Apple will say this is due to them being environmentally conscious, and most of us already have these by now. I have plenty of charging blocks and headphones in my drawers, but I've never used or opened them. This may not be the case for everyone, and it's further complicated due to the cable provided being a Lightning on one end and a USB-C on the other. You can see USB-C is going to be the future, but Apple here hesitated. They decided not to release it this year, even though they have in the iPad Pro. They just didn't go that extra step to introduce it into the iPhone. Now, what does next year bring? Maybe it's a USB-C, or maybe they go completely without a charging port at all. So let's go back to that cable. So it's Lightning port on one end and a USB-C on the other. This means it's rated up to 18 watts of fast charging with the right power brick. Your traditional Lightning cable maxes out at 12 watts. So the iPhone 12 this year comes in 4 variants. You've got the iPhone mini, the iPhone 12, the iPhone 12 Pro, and the iPhone 12 Max. The 12 and the 12 mini come in a range of vibrant colors, whereas the Pro and the Pro Max come in a range of 4 more metallic colors, and that band around the edge is actually stainless steel. So what's interesting here, all of the models, regardless of which one you pick, spec-wise, they're all the same. They've all got the same processor, the same graphical chip, the same performance. They've all got the latest and greatest A14 Bionic chip, which Apple claims to be the fastest in its class, and they claim huge gains in things like neural engine performance. So what does that really mean for the end user? I mean, can your apps open any faster? Can your games work any better? I think a lot of these games are actually going to be around photography. With the faster processor, with a faster neural engine, a lot of the things you see in photography, performing actions on the fly on larger, more detailed images, are going to get better. Your HDR photography, your low light photography, all of these things are going to work much snappier, much quicker. It's going to allow the phone to do better, do more. So photography is actually an area where the 12 and the 12 Pro actually differ. The Pro range have an extra telephoto lens, a third lens, and a Lidar sensor. The 12 Pro Max also has an image stabilization system, which will allow your images to be better in low light, or your videos to be more steady. Let's talk about that Lidar sensor for a moment. In last year's iPad Pro, Apple also introduced this Lidar sensor. Now I felt this was a little bit of a pointless inclusion. They never really made use of it, and hardly any AR apps actually made use of the Lidar sensor. What does it actually do? Well, Lidar sensor is kind of like sometimes you see in bats. It allows the device to see all around them in 3D and map out the space around them, and it can work in pitch black. You see it in things like cars and robotics. So what benefit does it have in the phone? Well, in the phone maybe more so than the iPad, because the iPad, personally, I didn't use it for photography, but on the phone you're going to be using that for photos more than you do on the iPad. And where it benefits photos is it will allow quicker autofocusing in low light situations. Where I think they could have also made use of this is portrait photography with depth perception. Now they haven't mentioned that it works with portrait photography as yet, and it didn't work in last year's iPad Pro. So that's a little bit of disappointment. I hope that's something they can address and make more use of the Lidar sensor. I think it's not really a reason to upgrade. It's the only reason they have really put the Lidar sensor in my opinion, is because future Apple devices such as the AR goggles was likely going to be based on Lidar technology, and this is their first dip into the Lidar world, so to speak. So all models of the phone actually have 5G, and Apple are claiming this is the fastest implementation of 5G in any smartphone. 5G is quicker than most broadband speeds in the UK. Apple claims some high speeds, but not everywhere has 5G yet. So do check your area to see if you have any coverage. Even if you don't, it makes sense if you're buying a phone in 2020 for it to include 5G for future proofing. But 5G does drain more battery. Now Apple's implementation of this, they claim, is a little bit more smart. It will only kick in 5G when it needs it. Most of the time it will let you use 4G, and when you really need it, it will boost up to 5G. The phone itself actually has some settings to allow you to tweak how that works. So what's also new here, which is a surprise, is Magsafe. So we all know and love Magsafe from the old MacBooks. Apple have now this year put Magsafe on the back of the phone. This will allow you to connect their own Magsafe Charger to the phone magnetically. So I think Magsafe is a chance for third-party companies to get involved with new accessories. Apple themselves have released a new wallet and a new case which makes use of Magsafe, and you can also buy their Magsafe Charger, which is rated up to 15 watts of charging. It doesn't take much of an imagination to picture a world where they actually get rid of the charge port altogether, and instead of adopting USB-C, they just go completely portless and just adopt the Magsafe Charger. I personally hope that doesn't happen. I'm quite happy with all of my devices now adopting USB-C. I think it's the standard way to move forward. So iPhone 12 is the only device in the world that can film in Dolby Vision Hdr. Now, whilst that sounds great and it's great for marketing, it doesn't really bode well if a particular format isn't widely supported. It doesn't give you confidence in that you're going to be able to easily work with it. I will be giving it a run through in the coming weeks, hopefully. One area of disappointment is the screen refresh rate. Now, we were all hoping for 120 Hz, similar to the iPad Pro. We would have been happy with 90 Hz, but instead what Apple have given us is your standard 60 Hz that you saw on the iPhone 11. This is a little disappointing, seeing as the competition has already moved forward on this. Certainly is something you'd expect at the very least to be in next year's iPhone. So is it worth that upgrade from 12 to 12 Pro? Now, if you're going for the 12 Pro Max, it's probably going to be down to the size, and it's an easier choice for you there. You either like the big size or you want to go small. But when you're choosing between the 12 and the 12 Pro, I think that line is a little bit closer this year, and it's also blurred by the fact, personally, I prefer the colors on the 12. They're a lot more vibrant, a lot more energetic. The 12 Pro, they look good. Some people might prefer it. They're a little bit more, they are certainly more metallic, and they're a little bit more subdued. The band around the edge is stainless steel, so it does attract a lot of fingerprints, and it is a heavier phone. So there might be a reason aesthetically why you might prefer the 12. The only reason I think to go for the 12 Pro is for that telephoto lens. If photography is your thing and you think that lens will let you take certainly better portraits, then that's your reason for going for the 12 Pro. But I think that line is a lot closer this year between which you go for. So that's a look at the specs of the phone, but let's take a closer look at the phone itself. So here is the 12 Pro in Pacific Blue. So it is a nice shade of blue. It does in some angles actually look grey, in other angles it looks a deeper shade of blue. And the band around the edge is a metallic silver. You can already see some fingerprints on there. But I really like the new design, the square edges that you see in the iPad. It just feels nicer in your hand. So Apple do claim this year they've got a new ceramic shield coating on the glass to make it even more drop proof, but I won't be doing any tests to find that out. Here's a difficult one. In certain shades the Apple Watch actually looks closer to space grey. In other shades it looks a lighter shade of blue. In some shades it actually looks the same shade of blue. In reality I think the Apple Watch is a much deeper blue, and the iPhone 12 Pro has a bit more of a green hue in it. So guys, that was my first look at the iPhone 12 Pro. I've been using it for a few days now. I've had a chance to experiment with the photo and the video, and I'm recording this on the iPhone 12 Pro at the moment. And overall, I am really happy. I do still hold the point that there is a closer point between the 12 and the 12 Pro in terms of whether you should upgrade or not now. And I don't think as many people would take that leap as they may have done in previous years. That is better for the consumer overall, the fact that they are a lot closer together. The only reason again for upgrading, and I am happy that I have upgraded for this reason, is that telephoto lens. If you think the photography is one of the main reasons for you buying the phone, in my experiments in the last few days and the photos I've taken, I have found myself using the telephoto lens a lot more, and it does add a little bit something different to your photos. So yeah, I'm not disappointed with the upgrade myself, but I think many more people will think a bit harder about that choice. Overall, thanks for watching, and if you like this video, please hit like and subscribe. This is a new channel. If it's something you like, then I hope to bring you more of this. Give me the encouragement to make more of these videos and spend a bit more time and make it a little bit better. Overall, thank you. Bye bye.